The wreck floated in the dark like a dead thing, silent and cold. It had no name, no signal, no markings, just a strange shape that didn't match any known ship. From a distance, it looked broken, maybe even ancient. A few panels hung loose. There were black scorch marks across its sides, like it had been burned long ago. Captain Varick stood on the bridge of the HFY salvage cruiser, bronze talon. His long fingers tapped the control screen slowly. "Staring at the strange object drifting ahead, sir?" the pilot said. "Scans show no life signs, no active power, just metal." "Ow. It's dead." "Dead things don't line up that perfectly," Varick muttered. "Look at it. Balanced structure, even damaged like it was placed there." "Probably an old human wreck from the last war," the crewman replied. "They scattered plenty of junk across this region." Varick didn't respond. He didn't trust silence. And the ship, if it was a ship, was too quiet. No drift rotation. No pull from the surrounding asteroid debris. Just ... still, like it was waiting. "Prep the boarding crew," he said. "I want a closer look." Within minutes, a small team of 4 HFY, including Varick himself, floated toward the object. In a skiff. As they approached, more strange details became clear. The surface was layered with dust, but no real signs of damage from micrometeorites. No corrosion. "Hasn't been here long," Varick said. "And this isn't human plating. Not entirely." Latched the skiff onto a side hatch, hissed opened easily. No power, yet the airlock responded. They entered. The inside was darker than they expected. Their suits' lights revealed walls lined with strange symbols, almost like letters, but they shifted if you looked too long. There was no dust inside. The floor was spotless, not abandoned. Preserved. "Look at this," one of the crew said. Kneeling near the wall, no signs of panic, no battle. It's like everyone left calmly. "Or didn't leave at all," Varick replied. They moved down a narrow corridor. Everything was smooth, too smooth. The walls looked like metal, but when one crew member tapped them, they felt soft for a second, like skin, and solid again. "Captain." Another voice called, "I found the core chamber. It's sealed. Big doors, human style." Varick stepped forward and reached for the console beside the doors. It was old tech, too old to still work, but the second he touched it, everything changed. Lights flickered on. The hallway behind them sealed shut. The floor under their feet pulsed once, then stopped. The console lit up. A message appeared in clear HFY text. "Unauthorized life forms detected. Human signature not found. Defense state. Stand by." "Did it just scan us?" one asked. Verse nodded slowly. "And it knows we're not human." The console changed again, initiating last recorded protocol. "Stand by for system evaluation." "Pull us out," Varick ordered. Now, they turned back, but the corridor was gone. Where there had been, a straight hallway now stood, a curved wall, no seams, no doors. One crewman slammed his hand against it. Where's the way out?" The console flared. Mimic integrity restored. Preparing memory echo. "What does that mean?" Someone asked, panicked. The air shimmered. A projection appeared, faint like smoke. A human woman, wearing an old Earth military uniform. Her face was calm, but her voice sent a chill through them. "If you are hearing this," she said, "you are not human, and this system is not dormant. You have awakened the war core." The walls lit up in lines. Blue lights ran along the ceiling and floor, tracing shapes that none of the HFY recognized. "The war core," she continued, "was built to protect human legacy after extinction. If humanity falls, this ship remains. If intruders find it, they are to be evaluated. If hostile, neutralized." Varick swallowed. She said, "If humanity falls, did they survive?" Another crewman whispered, "They can't be alive. We wiped them out. This must be a relic." Then the room trembled. Not like an engine starting, but like something waking up. From the ceiling, a soft hum started, barely noticeable. Then, "The lights grew brighter, Captain," said the youngest crew member, staring at a control panel. "This ship just started drawing power, not from inside, from the surrounding asteroids. How? Unknown. The projection vanished, and the final message appeared. Assessment complete. Non-human. Weapons locked. And beneath that one word, run.
Ow.
Varix reached for his communicator. Skiff, prep emergency retrieval. But before he finished, the floor split open. Beneath one of his crew, and he was gone. The doors to the chamber opened silently. And inside was not a human weapon, but something older, something alive, something built to remember. And now, in an asterisk, Captain Varix stood frozen. The floor had swallowed one of his crew like water, without a sound, without a trace. The chamber? Doors ahead of them were wide open now. The air inside seemed too warm for a ship this cold and dark. Move back, Varix ordered, voice sharp through the coms. Form up now. But the corridor behind them had vanished like it had never existed. A wall stood in its place, smooth and blank, no seams, no edges. It pulsed softly with blue light alive. We're not alone, whispered the youngest crew member. It knows we're here. Varix didn't answer. His eyes were on the chamber. Inside was a large spherical room, smooth all around, but the center held something strange. A glowing pillar stood from floor to ceiling, covered in rings of light. That spun slowly, humming as they turned. It looked more like a heart than a machine. It's feeding, one of the others said. Look at the data. It's drawing power from everything: radiation, gravity, even our own scanners. The lights on the pillar blinked faster. Captain, the pilot said nervously, I don't think this ship was just left behind. I think it was planted. Varix's grip on his scanner tightened. This thing, it's not a ship. It's a system, a program. They stepped into the chamber cautiously. As soon as they entered, the floor sealed behind them again. No way back. A voice echoed around them. Not through speakers, but through the air itself, deep and smooth, calm like a whisper in a dream. Presence confirmed. Archaea species. Low. Threat. Proceeding with memory projection. Low threat? Someone repeated. What does that mean? What is this? The pillar dimmed, then sent a pulse of light across the chamber. The air shimmered again. A new projection appeared. It was a battlefield, burning stars, broken ships, phasing through alien fleets. But they weren't weak. They weren't old. These ships moved like lightning, cloaked in shimmering armor, firing weapons the Archaea had never seen. And then came silence. The next scene showed Earth, what was left of it. Half of the planet blackened, cities gone, oceans boiling. The voice spoke again. Dominion strike. Year 8 of war. 72% of humanity lost. Emergency fallback activated. Project War Core initiated. Warwick stepped forward, watching the projection. It was clear now. This ship wasn't just a survivor. It was a plan. A trap. Left behind on purpose. The voice continued. If humanity was wiped out, this unit was to remain hidden. Waiting, rebuilding, adapting. What's the purpose now? Varix asked aloud, even though he wasn't sure who or what was listening. The lights in the room shifted again. The glowing pillars slowed, and another voice spoke, this one human, female, quiet but strong. If you found this, it means they came back. The War Core was not built to fight a war. It was built to end one, permanently. The air grew heavy. The crew looked around in silence. She's talking about us, the pilot said. She means the Archaea. She means the Dominion. Varix didn't answer. His eyes were fixed on the pillar. Suddenly alarms flashed in their helmets. Warning. Hull energy spike. What now? The scanner screamed. A wave of energy pulsed through the ship, and outside, unknown to them, a thin ring of metal began to form around the wreck, slowly shaping into a disk. Nearby rocks and debris floated toward it, breaking apart mid-air and forming new panels. It was building, reconstructing. Not just itself, but something bigger, Captain. The pilot shouted. It's using mass from the asteroid field. It's growing. Varix turned toward the crew. We need to leave now. But there's no way out. Find one. Or make one. They looked around the chamber. No doors. No seams. Just smooth walls and humming lights. The core was testing them, watching them think, react, move. Then, one of them had an idea. The floor like before. What if we trigger it? The youngest crew member picked up a metal rod from his gear and tossed it to the floor near where the first man had vanished. Nothing happened. He tossed another and stepped forward. "Wait," Varric said. "Too late?" He jumped on the spot and the floor split, just like before, but this time it didn't swallow him. It lowered him slowly like an elevator. He disappeared. Into the floor below. Silence. Then his voice crackled through the comms. "Captain, you need to see this. It's not just a ship anymore. It's building something massive. And it's not alone." A second pulse rocked the chamber. Outside, a second structure emerged from stealth. Another war core. And this one was awake too. The crew stared at the spot where their teammate had just gone down. For a few seconds, no one said anything. The silence inside the chamber felt heavier than the metal around them. Varric was the first to speak. "Lower us. All of us. If one made it down safely, then maybe that's the only way forward." He stepped onto the same place, and the floor responded. With a soft hum, it slid open beneath him. But instead of falling, he felt himself slowly descending. Lights pulsed along the sides, guiding him downward. Moments later, the others followed, one by one. As they descended, the air became warmer, cleaner. The cold, silent wreck they had entered was changing with every second. When they reached the next level, their boots touched metal again, but it was different this time. The floor was black and smooth, almost like glass. It glowed faintly beneath their feet, and then they saw it. The crew member who had gone first stood in front of a massive open space, eyes wide. Behind him, stretching for what seemed like miles, was a massive hollow chamber filled with strange machines. Walls moved by themselves. Blocks of metal floated midair and joined each other, reshaping constantly. It was like the ship was alivened, dreaming. "It's building something," he said quietly. The rest of the crew stepped forward slowly, their lights catching pieces of the structure as it took form. It was another ship, smaller than the one they were in. But it looked newer, sleeker, still unfinished. But what made them all stop was what stood at the center of the room, a tall platform lit with blue light. Floating just above it was a small orbino, bigger than a human head. It spun slowly, with thin lines of code scrolling across its surface. As they watched, the orb pulsed once, then it spoke. "Welcome to War Core Level 2. Reconstruction progress, 32%. Secondary unit assembly in process. Human command access not detected. Awaiting override." The voice was soft but clear. Not mechanical, not loud. Calm. Almost gentle. Varix stepped closer. "Are you an AI, correct?" the orb replied. "I am Core Mind, linked to War Core Prime. Defense status, passive. Energy collection, in progress." "Why did you bring us down here?" one of the crew asked. "To observe? To test? To confirm?" "Confirm what?" Varric asked. "That you are not human, that you remain a threat." A wave of silence passed through them. Varric frowned. "We're not a threat. We didn't attack you. You entered a hidden facility, accessed locked systems, attempted to shut down power flow. History shows this is how the last war began. That war ended," Varric replied. "Humans lost. Everyone knows that." The orb pulsed again. "No. Humans disappeared. Their final strategy was not surrender. It was silence." The crew exchanged nervous glances. This didn't match anything they'd been taught. In Dominion records, Earth had fallen. The humans were wiped out, or technology destroyed. But this ship was not destroyed. It was not broken. It was hiding. "You were waiting," Varric said slowly. "Not dead. Not lost. Just waiting. Correct." Varric stepped closer. "What are you building now?" "Defense units. In case of reinvasion, in case of extinction, humanity prepared for every outcome, including this one." "What outcome?" the youngest crew member asked. The orb paused, then answered in a single word. return. Before they could ask what that meant, the floor beneath them trembled. Not violently, more like a heartbeat. Lights on the walls began to shift again. Far above them, a soft, booming sound echoed. "Captain," said one of the crew, checking his scanner. "There's something outside." Varix activated his wrist display. The ship's outer cameras blinked to life, and there, moving slowly in the darkness of space, was another vessel, not theirs, not human, a Dominion scout ship. And it was approaching. Vark stared at the screen. "They followed us," one of the crew swore. "If they see this if they report this, they'll try to destroy it," Varric said quietly. The orb pulsed again. "Threat detected. Defense protocol will activate in 180 seconds. Varric said quickly. "You'll start a war again." The orb didn't change tone, then advised them to leave. Varric's opened comes and tried to hail the Dominion scout. No response. "They've jammed us," the pilot said. "They think we're compromised," another muttered. Varix took a deep breath. He looked at the orb, then back at the screen. Two paths were forming in neither of them. Ended peacefully. But the war core was not waiting anymore. It was waking up. And if the Dominion didn't back away, this forgotten weapon might be the first to strike. Asterisk, the Dominion scout ship moved closer. It hovered near the wreck, scanning it slowly, its lights flashing across the strange surface. From the outside, the ship still looked like a dead thing, a broken chunk of old metal drifting through space. But inside, deep within the hidden chamber, the war core was alive and listening. Captain Varric stood in front of the orb, watching the outer feed as the Dominion scout circled. "They'll think we found human tech," he said quietly. "They'll call it in." "They already have," the orb replied. "Encrypted Dominion signals sent 12 seconds ago. Reinforcements incoming." Varric clenched his jaw. "How many?" 3 ships, light destroyers. Arrival in 8 minutes. "One of the crew cursed. We need to get out of here." "Can't," said the youngest. "The exit is sealed. This place, it's not just some ruin. It's testing us, watching how we act." "Confirmed," the orb said calmly. "Behavioral analysis in progress." "What are you analyzing us for?" Varric asked. The orb turned, slightly in the air. "To determine if you are capable of peace, or if extinction is still required." No one spoke after that. The meaning behind the words hung heavy in the air. "Why us?" Varric finally asked. "Why are we being judged? That war was years ago." "Wars leave echoes," the orb replied. "Humanity believed peace only lasts when the enemy learns. Fear. You arrived uninvited. You trespassed on a memory. Now, the system decides what comes next." A soft chime rang through the chamber. "Alert. Dominion scout ship powering weapons." Varric spun back toward the screen. "They think we've been taken. They're preparing to fire." "They fire," said one of the crew, "and this place will respond." "Confirmed," the orb said again. "Warning. Defense systems will engage in 60 seconds. Varric turned to his crew. "Act. We have to stop this. If the war core activates, this won't end here. The Dominion will send more. We'll all be dragged into something we can't control." The orb's lights began to pulse faster. 50 seconds. "We're not the enemy," Varric said loudly, stepping forward. "We didn't come here to fight. We came because we thought this was just wreckage. A salvage job." "History repeats," the orb said. "But it doesn't have to," Varric argued. "You say humanity built you to protect their legacy. Then honor that legacy. Show strength, but also mercy." 40 seconds. Varric turned to his pilot. "Arkham's still jammed," he checked. "Not anymore. Signal just cleared." Varric didn't waste time. He opened a direct channel to the Dominion scout ship. "This is Captain Varric of Varen's Talon. Do not engage. Repeat, do not fire. We are alive. Situation under control." "Answer." 30 seconds, the orb said. Then at last a voice crackled through the cum. "Captain Varric, this is Dominion Scout Welv. You are trespassing in restricted ruins. Your crew's silence triggered an alert. Explain your status." We found something, Varric said. An old system. Still active. If you fire, it will retaliate. You need to back off. Static buzzed for a moment. Then, you're saying, this wreck has functioning weapons? More than that. It has intelligence. Purpose. It's not what it looks like. Another pause. 20 seconds, the orb reminded. Scout Welv's voice came back, more uncertain this time. We're picking up energy surges. Massive ones. That's the war core, Varric said. It's awake now. What's watching? You. The voice on the other end was silent. Then, we are standing by, but command will want answers fast. The orb dimmed slightly. Threat level reduced. Defense cycle paused, waiting further developments. Varric exhaled in relief. For now, they had bought time, but they weren't safe yet. He turned back to the orb. You were designed to protect humanity, not to wipe out anyone who gets too close. The orb's light shifted, flickering like it was thinking. Humanity believed hiding strength until the last moment gave them the only true advantage. The war core reflects that strategy, but your words shift parameters. Varric stepped closer, then listen. If you want to survive in this galaxy, you can't just be a weapon. You have to be something more. The orb pulsed once more. Evaluation. Incomplete, but possibility noted. Then a new alert appeared on the screen. Warning. Multiple warp signatures detected. Reinforcement fleet arrival in 90 seconds. Varric's heart dropped. They didn't believe us, said one of the crew. Or they're coming to take this. Ship for themselves, another added. The orb rose slightly into the air. New phase beginning. Shall I prepare defense protocols? Varric stared at the screen, watching the growing number of ships closing in. He had only seconds to decide, because if the war core responded like it was designed to, the galaxy was about to change forever. The lights inside the war core dimmed as the chamber shifted. The floor rumbled beneath their boots, a slow, deep vibration that felt like the heartbeat of a giant. On the screen, ships dropped out of warp one by one. 3 Dominion destroyers, each bristling with weapons, each moving with careful precision. They formed a triangle around the ancient wreck. Captain Varric kept his voice calm, but his heart raced. Can we open a channel to the lead ship? Yes, his pilot said. But they're already broadcasting on all channels, a voice came. Through the speaker, sharp and commanding. This is Commander Relin of Dominion Fleet Group 7. Captain Varric, stand down. You are now under Dominion control. Power down and prepare for extraction. Varric stepped forward. Commander, this is not a standard wreck. It is a human defense system, fully active and monitoring your movements. I urge you to halt your advance. Relin didn't answer immediately. Then he spoke with a scoff. Roll. You expect us to believe? That human tech this old should be dust? You've been compromised. We'll deal with the wreck and bring you in. The orb floated higher in the chamber. The air turned cold. Confirmation received, the war core said. External fleet. Approaching with hostile intent. Defense systems arming, Varric said quickly. Wait, just hold them off a little longer. Give me a chance to explain. They had their chance, one of the crew muttered. They're not here to talk. Outside, the Dominion ships began charging weapons. The orb spoke again. First, strike detected. Plasma batteries charging. Estimated time to fire, 20 seconds. Act! Shouted into the open. Come! Commander Relin, if you fire, this system will retaliate. You don't understand what this thing can do. But there was no reply. A new alert appeared on the screen. First shot incoming. A blue bolt lit up the space around the wreck as the lead destroyer fired. The beam hit the outer hull and vanished. No explosion, no damage. Just a quiet flicker as the energy disappeared into the metal. They're testing its defenses, the pilot said. Trying to provoke it? They're about to get their answer, Varric muttered. The orb pulsed brighter. Counterstrike ready. Awaiting captain level authorization. Varric froze. Captain level, he asked. You were the first to speak with intent to protect, the orb said. That meets minimum human command parameters. Temporary status assigned. Varrix's eyes widened. You're letting me control it? It's only for this engagement, to determine judgment potential. Varrix turned to the screen. The Dominion. Destroyers were preparing to fire again. It's time all three at once. Target weapons only, he said. Disable them. Casualties. Understood. Outside, the change was almost invisible. A shimmer, a light flicker, and then 3 beams of silver light shot outward, one from each side of the wreck. They hit the destroyers like silent arrows. Each ship jerked slightly in space, then went still. Enemy weapons offline, the orb said. Engines active, threat reduced. On the screen, panic spread across the Dominion fleet. Their systems were clearly failing. Inside each ship, lights would be flashing, alarms screaming, but there was no explosion, no fire, just silence. Total disarmament. Commander Rellen's voice returned, but it was shaken. What? What is that ship? Varrix replied slowly. A piece of the past. Left behind in case someone didn't learn their lesson. Rellen didn't answer. The orb dimmed. Response level reduced. Returning to passive mode. The chamber grew quiet again. The glow softened. They're pulling back, said the pilot. The destroyers, they're retreating. They'll report what happened, Varrix said. The entire Dominion will hear about this. He turned to the orb. So, what now? The war core rotated once in the air. Now, the galaxy watches. The story will spread. Humanity may have disappeared, but their weapons did not. That was the plan. One ship can't hold off an empire, one crew member said. Correct, the orb replied. But this isn't. The only one. The room fell still. Varrix frowned. There are more. Dozens. Hidden. Quiet. Waiting for the signal. You've sent that signal. But humanity is gone, Varrix said softly. Why would they still wait? The orb floated lower, its voice now almost a whisper. Because they believed in one final strategy. Not revenge, not war. But the idea that someday someone would come looking. And when they did, humanity's strength would not be forgotten. Soft light moved through the floor, revealing a map. It showed the galaxy. And across it, glowing points blinked one by one. Silent Colden, till now, Captain. Varrix stepped forward and stared at the map. The stars were no longer quiet. Asterisk, Captain Varrix stared at the glowing map. One by one, more lights appeared across the galaxy. They blinked softly, steady and calm, like silent signals rising from long-forgotten graves. Each one was a war core dormant. Until now, how many are waking up? Varrix asked. The orb hovered nearby, its glow steady. 7 units have begun low-power activation. Full systems are still offline, but that will change, now that the first core has been reconnected. His crew stood behind him, silent, unsure whether to feel fear or awe. This is bigger than us, one said softly. Much bigger. Varrix nodded, just stepped into. A secret that was never meant to be found by outsiders. Incorrect, the orb replied. It was always meant to be found, but only by the right ones. Why us? Varrix asked. We're not human. We're not even allies. You came without destruction. You came with curiosity. Tried to speak before you fired. That matters. Varrix watched the map again. So many hidden places. So many warships sleeping beneath moons, in asteroid belts, maybe even deep. Under alien oceans, waiting for a moment like this. What happens when others come? He asked. The Dominion won't stay quiet. We'll send more ships. Bigger ones, they will, the orb said. They always do. That's why war. Cores were built. And what about humanity? Varrix asked. If they're really gone, what happens when all these cores wake up? Then they become the last voice of a vanished people, the orb answered. And the message is simple. Humanity was never weak. They only let you believe they were. The room fell into silence again. Outside, the disabled Dominion destroyers drifted slowly, harmless for now. But reinforcements were already on the way. Bigger fleets, higher command. Once they learned what this ship had done, they wouldn't come asking questions. They'd Come firing. We need to leave, one of Varex's crew said. If we stay, we'll be caught in the next fight. We can't just leave this, another said. What if the Dominion captures it? They can't, the orb replied. This system responds only to approved neural patterns. Human minds, or those recognized by the core. Attempts to breach the system will result in self-destruction. So you'd rather blow yourself up? The young crew member asked. If needed? Varex turned back to the orb. Is there a way to contact the other cores? It's only from within this chamber, the orb answered. Or through someone linked by command protocol. You mean like me? Temporarily, yes. Varex felt a strange pull inside his chest. This wasn't just a ship, it was something more. A memory, a warning, a message in the shape of a weapon. He looked at the screen again, the blinking lights across the map. Still soft, still faint. Brighter than before. You said they were waiting for the right ones, he said. What if they never find them, and they wait forever? The orb answered. Varex took a breath. No, that's not good enough. If these systems are as powerful as you say, then they can't just sit in the dark. Someone has to decide what they stand for. That is what command was created for. Then let me speak to the others. Orb paused. Link request accepted, but be warned. Some are older than me, some changed. Changed how? Varex asked. Too much time in silence, too much loss. They may not believe in peace anymore. A sudden tremor ran through the ship. The lights flickered. Soft alert chimed through the room. Dominion battlecruiser arriving in local space. 1 minute. They're coming fast, said the pilot. Too fast. Varex turned to his crew. Get back to the skiff. Prep it for launch? What about you? I'm staying. They hesitated. But Captain, I started this, he said. Let me finish it. The orb rose higher, its light growing brighter. Linking now, it said suddenly. Varex felt it a surge in his mind memories, not his own, names, faces, battles, orders, humanity's last thoughts, stored in data. It rushed through him like fire, but it didn't burn. It filled him. The lights across the map began to move. The other cores were responding. Slowly, carefully, one sent a message. You are not human. But you remember them. That may be enough. Another chimed in. We've waited long enough. Then another. Is it time? Varex clenched his jaw and gave the only answer he could. Yes.
Outside.
The Dominion cruiser charged its weapons inside. War Core 1 opened every system it had, and across the galaxy, the others began to wake. The Dominion battlecruiser moved into position, massive and ready for war. Its weapons charged slowly, glowing red against the black of space. Inside the War Core, Varex stood still, breathing heavy, his thoughts tangled with the new link-in. His mind, he wasn't human. But for a few minutes, he felt like a soldier standing where no one was supposed to stand again. They're locking on, said the pilot from the skiff. We have seconds. The orb pulsed beside him. Defense systems online. Full capacity reached. Authorization confirmed across core network. Varex kept his eyes on the screen. The cruiser was close now. Too close. What do we do? His crew asked from the skiff bay. He didn't move. We let them see. The Dominion fired. 3 beams of high-energy plasma raced toward the wreck but never reached it. The outer hull shimmered, shifted, and bent light around the impact. The beams split, scattered, then vanished like smoke and wind. The War Core didn't fire. Back not yet. It waited, and then the sky changed. Lights flared across the edge of space as 5 new ships dropped out of warp, sleek, dark, and silent. They didn't broadcast any signal. No names, no warnings, but Varex knew what they were. The other cores had arrived. Each ship moved like a ghost. Drifting slowly into place around the battlecruiser, they didn't attack. They didn't speak. They just watched. The Dominion ship froze. Inside the War Core, the orb's light turned steady. Tactical control transferred to core network. All units online, awaiting command. Don't fire, Varex said. Confirmed. Then, for the first time, The Dominion commander opened a channel. His face appeared on the screen, pale and tense. "Captain Varix, what is this?" "A message," Varix said. "It's from a people you thought were gone." Commander looked at the ships around him. "You're saying this is human?" Varix nodded. "Not what's left of them. What they left behind. They prepared for the day someone would come back. And now you have." "They'll start a war," the commander said. "Can't control." "Them? They don't want war," Varix replied. "But they will finish when if it begins again." The Dominion ship's weapons went dark. Across the screen, the other corps sent short signals, no words, just silence that spoke louder than any weapon. They were watching, listening, and warning. The battlecruiser began to turn away. Slowly, carefully, it backed off. Vanishing back into the shadows of space inside the chamber, Varix finally exhaled. His crew stepped back into the room. "We thought they were going to blow us apart. They didn't," Varix said. Saw the truth. The orb floated closer. "They are not the only ones who will come. Many others will hear of this. Some will fear. Some will want to own us. Some will want to destroy us. And what will you do?" Varix asked. "We will wait," the orb replied. But not in silence anymore. The glowing map returned. Now, the lights across the galaxy weren't blinking. Bright, awake. Varix turned to his crew. "We'll report what we found. Let the galaxy know what's out here, but not as a threat. It's a warning, and maybe a promise. A promise." Someone asked that humanity was smarter than anyone. Believed. That they left something behind, not to conquer but to protect. The orb pulsed again. "You understand?" Varix nodded. "I think I do." He and his team returned to the skiff. The War Corps opened the path for them, no longer hiding. Longer testing. Outside, the wreck no longer looked broken. The surface was smooth now, clean, alive, like it had never been dead in the first place, as the skiff pulled away. The other Corps ships followed slowly, spreading out like silent guardians across the stars. Varix looked back one last time. The first War Corps drifted in the dark, still and calm. But he knew it wasn't sleeping anymore, and neither was the truth. Across the galaxy, in places no one remembered, old ships stirred beneath ice and rock. Light blinked through ancient armor. Systems came online, and silent voices whispered to themselves, "We were never gone. We only waited." Humanity hadn't vanished. It had simply learned the power of patience, and now the galaxy would remember.